Disgusting. Hygiene on the Titanic. Imagine living in a floating hotel with over 2,000 people and only 4 bathtubs. That was the reality for the passengers of the Titanic, the most famous shipwreck in history. And how did they cope with the lack of hygiene and sanitation on board? The Titanic was a marvel of engineering and luxury, but also a breeding ground for germs and diseases. From the crowded steerage cabins to the lavish first-class suites, no one was safe from the filth and stench that plagued the ship. We will reveal the shocking truth about the hygiene of the Titanic and how it affected the fate of the passengers and crew. You may think you know everything about the Titanic, the unsinkable ship that sank on its maiden voyage in 1912. But do you know how dirty and disgusting it was? How did the people on board deal with the limited water supply, the overflowing toilets, and the vermin infestation? In this video, we will take you on a journey through the dark and dirty side of the Titanic and show you how hygiene on the ship was a disaster waiting to happen. Have you ever wondered what it was like to travel on the Titanic, the queen of the ocean? It was an amazing experience for sure. The ship was sparkling clean and had everything you could wish for. The passengers were in awe of the beauty and service of the ship, and they had a great time on board. But did you know that not everyone had the same level of hygiene and comfort? It all depends on your class. The Titanic is the most famous shipwreck in the world. The Titanic was a marvel of engineering and design, but it also revealed the stark difference in hygiene and comfort among its passengers. Depending on your class, you could enjoy a luxurious bath or share a communal lavatory with hundreds of others. The first-class passengers had it the best. They could enjoy all kinds of luxurious amenities, like the Turkish Bath. Can you believe it? They had to pay extra to use it, but it was worth it. They could relax in steam and massage rooms, with attendants ready to pamper them. They could also try the electric bath, which was like a modern tanning bed that warmed up your body. How cool is that? The cooling room was the most impressive part of the Turkish Bath. It was decorated by a Moorish style, with bronze lamps, blue-green tiles, carved teak, and Cairo curtains. There was even a marble drinking fountain for refreshment. The Turkish Bath had different hours for men and women, and it was staffed by 5 attendants. Sadly, only 2 of them survived the sinking. But most of the Titanic passengers didn't have their own bathtubs. Only a few cabins had private ones, like the one that Captain Edward Smith used. He had a porcelain tub that could be filled with fresh or salt water. The only other cabins with private bathtubs were the luxurious Parlor Suites on Deck B. They had multiple bedrooms, closets, and private decks. One of them was occupied by Charlotte Cardeza, and the other by J. Bruce Ismay, the chairman of the White Star Line. The rest of the passengers had to use the public bathing facilities on each deck of the Titanic. They had to make appointments with bath stewards or stewardesses to use them. The first and second class deck had more bathtubs than the third class deck. Third class passengers used crowded and dirty communal lavatories and shared 2 bathtubs. They were checked for lice and diseases before boarding. They had no lavish amenities like the first class passengers. Some bath stewards and stewardesses survived and told their stories. The Titanic was a floating palace for some and a floating prison for others. It showed us how class dictated hygiene on the ship and how hygiene affected survival when disaster struck. The Titanic's dirty secrets are part of its fascinating legacy that continues to intrigue us today. Unfortunately, Herbert George Broom, Thomas Pinnell, and George Hinckley, who served as bathroom stewards, lost their lives in the Titanic disaster. Their dedication to their duties, even in such a perilous situation, is a testament to their commitment to passenger care. Interestingly, it was only the passengers in the third class who had access to the automated toilets on the ship. The cabins in the Titanic featured water closets and sinks, but the toilets in the first and second classes had to be manually flushed. Passengers in these classes were familiar with this process as they had used similar toilets on land before. On the other hand, the toilets in the third class were equipped with automatic flushing. This decision was made due to the concern that steerage passengers might not be accustomed to using toilets, having previously relied on outhouses and chamber pots. To ensure that the toilets functioned properly, automatic flushing mechanisms were introduced. Catherine Wallace helped third-class passengers on the Titanic. She taught them how to use the toilet and stayed with them until they died. Third-class passengers had to pass medical and lice exams before boarding. Dr. O'Loughlin and others checked them outside the ship. They got an inspection card if they were clean and healthy. This was to protect everyone on the ship. These additional details shed light on the various sanitation measures and practices aboard the Titanic, highlighting the different experiences and precautions taken for passengers of different classes. It's a reminder of the challenges faced during that time, as well as the efforts made to maintain hygiene and promote passenger well-being amidst the tragedy. Olin, a senior surgeon with the White Star Line, was on board the Titanic and had the important responsibility of overseeing the ship's medical staff. Dr. Simpson, another doctor, provided assistance to second and third class passengers, and Catherine Wallace acted as a matron for the passengers in third class. But O'Loughlin and Simpson also inspected the crew, ensuring their health and readiness. Dunford's thermometer showed the ship's medical equipment. The Titanic had many restrooms with soap and sinks. Some first-class ones had Vinolia soap for delicate skin. The passengers could use the ship's staff or their own assistants for grooming and dressing. The ship had doctors, nurses, and a hospital. These details showed the Titanic's care for passenger health and comfort. The personal attendants of the Titanic truly embodied a higher standard of luxury and comfort at sea, reflecting the opulence and excess at the time. Servants on the ship were considered superior to the regular crew members and were provided with silver-plated napkin rings etched with the word servant. They enjoyed certain privileges, including access to facilities like the barbershop, where first-class passengers could receive haircuts and washing services during the afternoon hours, while shaves were available to their second-class companions at all times. Stewards on the Titanic cared for passengers' dogs, and a kennel on the F deck was managed by John Hutchinson and his bellboys. Smaller dogs stayed in cabins and were walked on the poop deck. Passenger Ella Holmes' white had roosters, hens, and a resident cat named Jenny, who gave birth to kittens. A significant number of men handled dishwashing on the ship, ensuring cleanliness for fine cookware and cutlery. The Titanic provided thousands of utensils, bone china dinnerware, and silver-plated napkin rings. Cleaning procedures are unclear, but there were plate stewards, busboys, and plate washers among the crew. Living conditions varied, with designated quarters for crew members. Firefighters had a room with 54 beds, and second and third class stewards shared rooms. These conditions were better than those in the boiler room. Notably, the extensive use of asbestos in the boilers posed health risks to crew and workers. We hope you enjoyed learning about the filthy conditions that the passengers and crew had to endure on the doomed ship. If you did, please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel for more amazing content. Also, don't forget to comment below and let me know what you think of the Titanic's hygiene. Would you have survived on board? Or would you have been sickened by the dirt and germs? Let me know in the comments. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!